Hey, so just like everyone else, I finish mixes and then anywhere from 3 or 6 months or a couple of years later, I listen back and I think, oh man, I could have done this better, or I wish I would have changed this, or et cetera, et cetera. So I was just messing around the other day and was pulling up one of the Counterparts songs from the album Prophets, which I did way back in, I don't know, I think it was 10 years ago now. And, this is one of the most, I guess, notable or popular records that I've worked on. But I would say the mix is, it was 10 years ago. So I think I'm a little bit better now than I was then. And even though a lot of people like this mix, I often listen to it and think, I definitely would have done things a little bit better or differently. So I just thought I'd shoot this video and kind of start messing around with this session and basically show you how kind of the quick things that I would do to try and improve this mix. So I've already done a video here on my channel that kind of shows you inside this mix and highlights a couple things. I'll play a little bit here and then we'll just start diving in and messing with stuff. So what I like about this mix is it's very, it's the opposite of overprocessed. So there's not a ton of processing happening. The drums, they're very kind of naked almost if you listen in solo. Not much ambience to it. Same with the bass and guitars, just basically trying to capture a good kind of clear tone, and that's it. Like the guitars, basically no EQ on them. The tone we got off the amp is it, just a left and right take. Just one track of vocals at the middle. So pretty simple arrangement, simple mix, and I think that's what kind of made it special. But I think that it's almost a little bit too clean. I think it could be a little beefier, a little thicker, especially in the low end. I think the drums could kind of poke out a little bit less, or at least be a little bit less naked sounding. I think the whole thing could just sound a little bit more glued and just bigger. So, I mean, right off the bat, I'm going to turn on heat here. Let's give it a little bit of drive. And I also want to completely switch out this snare sample. Let's throw in trigger. All right, let's try to find something. Let's go to my snares. You know what? I'm going to try and create a completely new snare sample on the fly here. So this is, I believe we recorded these snare samples at Metalworks Studio near Toronto here for one of Silverstein's albums. So awesome drum room, Neve console, all that stuff. So let's see if we can get anything out of this. Flip the phase on the bottom. So here I'm just mixing the top and bottom samples that we recorded. Now, what is probably going to be great about this is the room tracks. Yeah, the room sounded awesome at this studio. So there's a stereo room and a mono room that was really far away. So that's sounding pretty awesome. All right, now let's start processing this. So let's do some SSL channel. Maybe a little bit too much bottom snare. So just trying to add a lot of top end crack here at 8K, and then some mid range to help it poke through the mix, and of course some bottom end to give it some oomph. Now let's do some compression. So in the studio, when I'm recording Snare or some of the other samples I've made, I really love the distressor on it. Now I don't have my hardware distressor anymore, so what I've found actually is the Slate Virtual Mix Rack. The Virtual Mix Rack has a distressor model. I don't know why it gives me everything here. And look, I've never tried any other distressor emulations. I know there's a bunch, but when I tried this one, I thought, wow, that pretty much sounds like what I expect a distressor to sound like. So let's dial in the settings I would use, and let's hear that. All right, pretty happy with how that's sounding so far. Let's hear it in the mix. All right, let's add a little bit of distortion here. Cool, it's a little bit spiky here, so let's grab the old JST clip plugin. Try to shave off some of the peaks. All right, let's see where we're at so far compared to the original mix. Now the new one. Let's check out our drum bus, the compression. Let's crank that up a little bit. I'm liking how that sounds. I'm going to bring in from my mix starter template. Let's bring in my parallel drum compression bus, and we'll just do that for now. So now we need to create some sends here. Yeah, let's see where this ended up. So going to create a set of sends over to of my drum kit over to the parallel compression bus. Let's just set them all at 0, and let's listen to that bus alone. So first thing I want to do on a bus like this, bring down the overheads. And we can have more for sure. Dirty it up a bit with Decapitator. Maybe a little less snare. Down with the clip. This needs to sound beefier to me. A little chunkier there. Our snare's still not quite cutting the way I want. Let's try some additional EQ here. Might need some mid-range to kind of cut through a little more. Sometimes when you have a snare that you're just adding so much top end and so much bottom end, obviously it ends up scooped in the mid-range, but you need some of that to cut through a mix. So I'm actually trying to find a spot. Right now I'm around 800 hertz. I'm trying to find somewhere where it can cut through the mix a little more and that we can hear the tone of the snare a little bit better without it being kind of honky or boxy. Cool, let's check out the room track that we had. It's my room mic. It's actually pretty cool. Let's ditch some of the low end. And we need to get this pumping a little bit. Sounds pretty cool, and let's try some Decapitator on this as well. Check the original mix again. Okay, the other area for improvement, I think for sure, is the bass guitar. So let's check this out. There's a DI where I have the SansAmp plugin. We got an amp track. Very clean. Let's mute that for now. And just a dirtier version of the SansAmp. Let's just work on this SansAmp clean tone. Give it a little bit more drive. There we go. Let's use a different compressor. Let's grab one of my favorite saturation plugins, Phoenix. And this, I'm just trying to add some low mids. Little thickness in the low mids there. Do the same thing here. The kick could use a little more oomph. Cool, now let's see what else. My lead vocal here. Let's try some 1176 as well. Since I've mixed this record, there's kind of like, you can see I'm doing a bunch of moves really quickly. These are kind of things that became my go-to, ways to process different parts of the mix kind of after I did this record. So that's why things are a little bit different here. Vocal mix is not grouped here. Here we go, just link our plugins like that. And I actually want to compress after the EQ here. Put a little more de-essing. And just kind of, because we added some level there, it's triggering our limiter a lot more. So I'm just adjusting that and then bringing down the out ceiling, just because I've got automation written here for everything. So I can't just move the faders without redrawing the automation. So I'm just kind of using the output of plugins to balance it back in the mix where I want it. Don't know if my plugins are linking up here. That one is. Okay, cool. So let's see where we're at, guys, and you can let me know in the comments if you think this is better or worse. I know that sometimes it's kind of funny when you try to go back and redo something that you did a while ago. Parts of it are good. Parts of it, you don't want to like ruin the magic of what it once was, right? So I can hear good and bad in both, but let's A/B a little bit. This is the original. Bass is maybe a little hot here. But I like how the bass is playing a bigger role in the mix now, and to me that's helping it sound glued. The drums are sounding a little more modern, and the whole mix is just kind of jumping out of the speakers a little more for me. So yeah. All right, guys, I'll stop there for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm not trying to, give any sort of sexy YouTube mixing tip or anything here. I just really was kind of having fun messing around with this session and decided to record it for you and show you what I was up to. So hopefully you learned something from here and kind of learned how just some simple tweaks and these things that the more experience you get, the more hours under your belt as a mixer, these techniques and these ways of hearing things will just become just natural to you, and you'll just reach for things quickly like this and be able to really transform things pretty quickly. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments of this, and if you want to see kind of more content like this, kind of digging in and reimagining older mixes, it's fun to do. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.